Hey, y'all, welcome back to episode 37 of the Late Night Vision Show. I am Hans, and if you are joining us for the first time, please go ahead and find us on YouTube and subscribe. Also, as you know, if you're watching this or listening to this through an app sharing service, whether it be iTunes or Google Play, please go ahead and follow and subscribe on there. And as always, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook, The Late Night Vision Show. And please go ahead and make sure that you follow everything. That way you'll stay up to date on the most current podcasts that come out, and you'll get to hear all the fun stuff that we get to talk about. But I'm going to bring in my buddy Jason right now. How you doing, bud?
I am doing good, Hans. I thought you forgot about me for a minute. I thought you were just going to go on with the show, and I was just going to sit here.
Yeah, I've got about 1 minute of dialogue, and then I have nothing. I'm out of it.
I know. I'm just teasing.
I did. But you know, I did miss something. We encourage everybody to please contact us, send us your pictures, send us, we're accepting voicemails and stuff. We've got a phone number, so you can give us a call at 903-833-4461. You can text that number. We will not text you back, but send us your pictures. We'd love to share them on social media, as well as send us your voicemails, because we'd like to play those on the air. And you can also email us at thelatenightvisionshow@gmail.com, Jason. So let me get that in there.
Send us pictures of dead hogs and dead coyotes. I just want to be specific of what pictures we're requesting there.
We will accept any pictures, but we're not going to share.
No, we will not. No. No, I'm afraid I know our audience too well, and I'm scared to ask what we might get.
Some of them might be, some of them might be immediately deleted.
Yeah,
but,
no.
Dead hogs and dead coyotes are preferred.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But I want to tell you, I had a funny story. I went hunting with a buddy last time. You know, it's always fun to take a buddy out for the first time that's never looked through a thermal, and just to see and get their reaction when they look through that scope for the first time. And I took a buddy out last weekend, and it was his property, and we, for me, getting to hunt a new spot is exciting enough. So he got to use the thermal, I get to use the thermal, and we saw a big hog coming up, and I turned around and said, all right, we got a big hog coming up. Let's set up, get the rifles ready. So he doesn't really know his way around. So I'm setting up his rifle. I got him set up first. I set up my rifle, and I'm behind a bush. I can't see him. So before we got started, I told him, I said, okay, this is the process. We're going to set up, and I'm going to count down 3, 2, 1, fire. Well, he's like, all right, yeah, sounds good. Well,
I can see where this is going on.
Yeah, I get behind that bush, and I can't see him, and the hog's moving. So I raise up my rifle, and I said, hey, I've got to move. About that time that I set my rifle back up, I hear 3, 2, 1, shoot, boom. And he shoots, and he's like, we got him. And I said, no, bud, I didn't shoot at all. I was like, I was the one supposed to be counting down, and I cannot tell you how many times that happens where the count is always off, but it's always, I was excited for him to get his first hog, and he was excited. I'm going to give him a little bit of a hard time, because I was giving him a hard time then, but he got a little excited and shot like 5 seconds before I was even ready.
Well, I'm going to say this. I saw some pictures from that hunt, and that was a big hog. Yeah. That was a real big hog.
Yeah, we need to talk about that sometime, and it's maybe a topic for a show, but finding these hogs that have been caught before. I don't know if people may not even be aware of this, but I know it's common with people that are running dogs, but people that catch hogs, male boars, and they neuter them and mark them by slitting the ears and then let them go.
It's called a bar hog, and it's instead of a boar hog, it's a bar hog, and those hogs without their manlyhood, their testicles, they will grow very big, very fat. They will get huge, and that would probably explain why that hog was so big then.
Well, I've come across a couple of them in East Texas now, and we need to talk about that practice at some point in a show, because it is a sport running with dogs, but also at the same time we're trying to protect land. So,
oh boy, I already feel controversy going on. We better go to another. We better go to another subject quick.
I love shooting big hogs, so I'm it's good to see. But that hog was on his way to go. He was about 10 yards away from some cattle that were settled up for the night and about to go eat feed and tear up a bunch of stuff. So that's a topic for another show. But hey, we've got a full show for you today, and we've got some breaking news about the Halo, some information that's come out since the last time that we talked about the release of the Halo. So we've got some new stuff to talk about. We've got SHOT Show 2019 coming up. But first, I know, Jason, you've got some news about the Pulsar Core RX-Q30V.
I do. So I don't know what happens. It's funny how things go in cycles. And when you talk to customers, there's times where, you get something on the shelf and you just think nobody's ever going to buy them. And it's really strange how, and it's just different scopes. But the Core is one of those. It seems like when they're in stock, you sell one here, you sell one there. You get low on inventory. Everybody wants them. And so right now, there's not hardly any to be found as far as I know anywhere. My phone is ringing off the hook. Everybody wants the Core RX-Q30V right now. I mean, just nuts. Phone just endless amount of calls in the last 2 weeks about them. And we've sold out. And as far as I know, most everybody has. But I did speak with Pulsar this week. And there is some news about the Core. It is not going completely away, so I'm not going to go there. But it is going to go away for a kind of an extended hiatus. As most people know, the Core RX-Q30V by Pulsar does have a green tinted OLED. And it's an AMOLED, and it does have a green tint. It is the only thermal rifle scope. Weapons mountable scope that is like that. Their clip-on scopes are that way. But again, the only one like it, and it's been good and bad. Some people really like it. Some people don't. Some people just don't care. But Pulsar is going to temporarily take the Core RX-Q30V off the market for a period of what they're saying right now, maybe around 3 months. And they're going to change out the green OLEDs and replace it with a standard black and white OLED. And something, my understanding, is to change that. There's some different changes that have to be made inside the scope, and so they're going to have to retool or change a few things internally. Again, the scope, as far as I've been told, is not changing in any other way. I don't have any knowledge of the price changing, of anything getting better or worse or whatever. Now, if something changes drastically when it comes back out, then, we'll cross that bridge. But my understanding, what I've been told, is the only thing that's changing is that it is going to have a black and white OLED, which, again, I don't think is really either a major plus or a negative, but it is going to be essentially quit shipping for about a 3-month period, and we don't even know if we're going to have any more. So from what I was told, there could be a small handful come in on another shipment, but most likely not. And so this could be all that, basically there's not any right now, so there may not be any for a good while. The alternatives, there's not much right now. With the Pulsar Apex is gone, there's not going to be a lot of other options out there. You got the FLIR Thermosight Pro PTS 233. It's $21.99, so it's a couple $100 more, $300 more. That thing is an extremely limited supply as well. I don't know. Right now, it's getting tough. We're in a very strange period, and it is very hard, really for the entry-level guy right now to get in because there's just not a lot of options. So, I want to be clear. We don't have any knowledge that's being discontinued, anything like that. Just going to be, no shipments for a while they make some changes, and then it should be coming back out here, like I said, in about 3 months. Hopefully less. I think 3 months is maybe the hopefully the longest it's going to be, but we'll just have to wait and see. So that is the news on that.
Well, I'll tell you, you're right. It is. It seems like when something's running low or out, that's what everybody wants. And I've taken a bunch of calls of people asking about the Core RX-Q30V, and they're ready to buy a scope right now. And they have a budget to work within, and they were inquiring on when those are going to come back in and any changes that were going to be made. But yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a while, and some of those buyers are looking at other options, and the 233 is another option that they're looking at. So
yeah,
I'll be glad when those come back in, because that is that's kind of a budget friendly scope for people trying to get in for the first time. And it's a very popular scope, and I think there was some concern that it was going to go away completely. So it's good.
Yeah.
The positive is it's not going away completely.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, I've been told it's not going away, and I'm going to tell you.
Do we know the price? Do we know the price point on it? Is it going to remain the same?
My understanding is that it's going to remain the same at $18.99. Again, anything can change. Right. We'll probably find out more at SHOT Show next week to confirm all that. But I've talked to two sources at Pulsar, both in the know, high ranking, and neither one mentioned a price change. I didn't specifically ask, but nobody mentioned it, and it was just kind of very nonchalant of, hey, this is what we're doing. This is going to change, and it'll be back after we get it back up and running. So that's all we really know on it. And I'm going to tell you, I would not right now, if it were me, I wouldn't be going out and trying to put my name on a list to wait and get one. I think it's too long to wait. I'll just tell you, I had 4 guys call today ready to buy one, and I just told them I'm not even going to write your name down. I'm not going to put it on a list. When we're that far out and we don't have, anything could change between now and then. We're in this open-ended thing. I just it's not worth it. I mean, I've already got guys on the list that are waiting. I'm going to try to call them, hopefully before this podcast comes out, before they're surprised, and let them know that it's probably going to be unlikely that they're going to get anything either. And I know a couple of those guys have been waiting a couple of weeks. They'll be disappointed, but it is what it is. Nothing we can do about it. We're just rolling with the punches.
Well, and I know also, with the news about the Pulsar Core, there's also some news about a brand new, I guess, product from Pulsar, the Axion.
Yeah.
So you got some news on that too?
I don't have much. If y'all pay much attention on Instagram or Facebook, Pulsar has released some information. They had a little sneak peek of it in some ads, I think maybe last week, where they showed a picture of the new Thermion thermal rifle scopes, and in that ad was a small picture of a handheld monocular. And it was just kind of where's Waldo? What is this sitting in here? And then this week they've gone ahead and released a couple pictures of it in use, kind of an action type photo, and it's a very small handheld thermal monocular. We do know it's called the Axion. Don't have a lot of information on it. Don't have a lot of information we can share. I can say this, and I think this is okay to say, that let me back up. I know we can say this. I'm trying to be careful here. The Helions, the Helion XQ38, XQ50, XP38, XP50, those are definitely staying around from what I've been told. So without going on the record and saying anything officially, I think it seems pretty obvious that the Axion would replace the Quantum Light XQ23V and XQ30V that were recently discontinued, as well as probably the Helion XQ28 that was discontinued. Those scopes were respectively $16.99, $18.99, and $21.99. So we don't have pricing on this yet. We'll know next week at SHOT, but I think it's a pretty safe assumption that it's going to be somewhere in that Quantum Light Helion XQ28 price range, and I think there's going to be more than one model. I think there'll be several models. So the point I'm making with this is there's going to be a new budget-friendly thermal handheld by Pulsar, going to take the place of these other units, and there's a lot of people have been calling about handhelds recently, and with a lot of these been discontinued, it's kind of like, gosh, I guess I'll have to wait. So I think the wait is going to be over soon. We are going to have something hopefully shipping later this year that will meet that need. So I'm excited, and again, we'll be back with all that information after the SHOT Show, and Hans and I'll talk more about that later in the show.
Yeah, I hope all the listeners know this. When a man has to watch what he says, that means he knows too much.
No, I mean, I like to be clear, and I just, you gotta be careful you don't say something you're not supposed to, and I try to walk a thin line.
Well, I tell you, all the listeners want everybody to spill the beans on it, and I've heard everything Jason said, and he's pretty much said everything that he knows. So
that's exactly right. Yeah, I don't want anybody to think that, and if there's any other dealers that happen to be listening to this show, they're like, oh, Jason knows all the I don't know the details. I know 2 tidbits, and the same thing I do. So, I don't want to make myself out to be like I've got some inside scoop. I don't. Right. That's basically all the news we know, and it's all that matters because we don't have pricing. No one has that yet, and we'll have it all next week, and then we'll have magnification levels and specs, features, and that's what everybody wants to know.
All right. So let's do this. Let's talk about the brand new Envision Halo. We know that they were coming out with some weapons mountable rifle scopes. There's been a lot of talk about it. We've mentioned it on the show. We've teased it a little bit, and we finally have some specs. And these were released through a media press release last week directly from Envision. So we have some information on it. We want to deliver that to you right now. And I want to let you know and preface this by saying we have not seen the scope. The scope has not been put in our hands. We haven't looked through it at all. And all the information that we have and that we're going to share from you is direct from the manufacturer. We want to give you the facts, and we will report back as soon as we get one in our hands and we get a chance to look through it, use it, and field test it. But Jason, why don't you share with us right now what we know and what was released from Envision?
Sure. Well, if you've been on social media, then you've probably seen some of this stuff getting, floating around over the last week. Like Han said, Envision did have a press release with a bunch of information coming out about these. They made them live on their website. And, as dealers, we're now able to take pre-orders for these units. So there is a lot of information, but there's a lot of things that, in my opinion, we don't really know because, like Han said, we haven't got our hands on them, and we're not comfortable making, firm statements until we've seen them. We are going to get our hands on these units at S.H.O.T show. That is the first step for me. I think that's great. I do want to touch, feel, look, see, mash the buttons, do all that. But at the end of the day, I can't make I know Hans nor I are going to make any kind of absolute what we think about them until we've taken them out in the field. I mean, I don't want to be in a convention center. I want to be out in a dark field seeing 500 yards, and then we'll talk and see. But I do have confidence these are going to be great units. For those that don't remember or maybe haven't checked it out, we did have a full review of the Envision Atlas. That is a handheld binocular or biocular that they sent us to demo back this summer, and we had Matt from Envision on, did an interview with him, and he kind of teased this out, told us there was going to be some stuff, and so now here they are. And I'm going to run down these specs and tell you what we know. All of these units that we're going to be talking about have a 640 by 480 12 micron BAE core, and I'm sure that Envision is sick and tired of this, but I've got to say it. Everybody else is. This is the exact same core that Trijicon uses. And I know that Envision is probably tired of hearing the word Trijicon as much as their name, but let's face it. Well, they're competing with them.
Yeah, I don't think that they would be. They're probably glad to be put in that same category.
Absolutely.
If I was a company, I'm not going to say a brand new company because it's not a brand new company. They've been around for 15 years or so. But in the consumer market, in the hunting category, it's relatively an unknown company, and I get people text me, ask me questions all the time about it. And so, yeah, I think they would be
sure.
happy to be put in that same category.
Well, and that's no secret. They're competing with Trijicon on purpose. They're going for the highest of the high end in the consumer market now. And so they're using the identical core that they are. And they're 640, 480, 12 micron BAE core, all running 60 hertz. And so here, the Halo, that is going to be, they're going to have 2 thermal rifle scopes. The Halo is going to be one. It's a 25 millimeter objective lens. I was told by Envision that, and it's a 1.75 power optical magnification. I'll get into that, what I meant there when I said I was told. 1.75 power optical magnification. It's going to retail for $5,995, which is a very big price drop from anything like that, can't say their name, Trigicon has got right now. I mean, it's for what they're kind of comparing this to, it's going to be, that's a big drop there. So then going on, they've got the Halo LR. That's going to be a long range unit. It's going to have a 50 millimeter objective lens, a 3.5 power optical magnification, and it's going to retail for $7,495. Also, I'm just going to move into this real quick. There is an Atlas 50 millimeter. That is the binocular, or biocular as they actually are. It's going to be $58.95. It's going to be a 3.5 power. And then there is an Atlas 25 millimeter. Don't have the magnification on it, and it's going to be $100 less at $5,795. So here's a couple things that I just want to throw some tidbits out. Number one, if you go to Envision's website right now, there's, they've got beautiful stock images of these units. There's a lot of specs and information. The magnification is not listed anywhere on there. If it is, I can't find it. And I've looked all over. They've even got a downloadable spreadsheet there. Or not spreadsheet, a PDF. Downloaded that. It's got everything, all kinds of specs. Some of the things, I don't even know what they mean, but they don't give the magnifications. I can't find it anywhere. So when they called me last week to talk about doing some pre-orders of these, I said, hey, give me the magnifications. We got these numbers written down. I didn't get these on the Atlases, so I found somewhere that it's going to be a 3.5 power. I saw somewhere else it was listed as 2.5 power. I think it's 3.5, and I don't know what the 25 millimeter is. Again, I cannot find it listed anywhere on their website, so that's something that hopefully they will get updated, and that information will be out there soon. But
right,
go ahead.
Yeah, and I may be talking about what you were about to talk about, but I kept getting text messages from people in the industry, people that are in the know, and they kept texting me and say, hey, this thing's going to include internal video recording. And I kept going back and thinking, I was like, no, I don't think so, but there's a lot of confusion around that too.
Yeah, so that was something that, I was getting those text messages and phone calls when all this stuff came out because, Hans and I publicly said on this show that from our understanding, there was some issue with the BAE 12 micron 640 by 480s that does not allow for internal video recording. And again, I'm just repeating that from what I've been told by industry insiders at some of the manufacturers. If that's wrong, the egg's on my face, but I'm just, again, repeating by people that are a lot smarter than me in manufacturing. And even when we had Matt from Envision on the show back this summer, he said, no, it's not going to have internal video recording. And their specs on the website, it says, I'm quoting, downloadable photo and video. And then it goes on a little blurb, and it talks about sharing your photo and video. So everybody was texting and emailing and calling and saying, see, they've done it. It's got, internal video recording. So I talked to Envision, like I said, last week, and I talked to Matt, and I said, hey, does this thing have internal video recording? And he said, no. It has, I believe, my understanding is it has internal still image capability, which makes sense because that's what the Atlas has as well. But the video is all done via a video out port and an MDVR, a mini digital video recorder. The same thing that you do with the Trigicons, the same thing that you do with the Atlases. They're, unless you put a camera behind the lens or do something different. So I just want to be clear that that little, bullet point they've got on there. I'm sure it's totally unintentional, but a lot of people have read that to say that it has internal video recording, and I have confirmed it does not have internal video. Right. So just FYI.
Yeah, well, and that's important. We want to definitely clear that stuff up because the last thing we want is any anticipation for something that's not actually there. But you know what? I look forward to seeing some good videos with it. Want to see that. I want to see it in person more than anything, and test it, like you said, out in the field. We're going to see it at SHOT Show. We've got that coming up next week. If you're listening to this, the day it comes out, we'll be leaving next week to go to Las Vegas for the SHOT Show. We'll get to look at it, but looking at it through a convention hall is tough.
Yeah,
and getting any type of assessment. But
yeah, and
if we're gonna, people are, I think, depending on us and us in the industry, people that are doing this every day, to be able to go out, test it, use it, show videos, show some good video with it, and help them make the decision of what they want to purchase moving forward, and especially with a company like Envision that's fairly new into the consumer market on this side of the business. People want to see it in action first, and that's really what they're looking for.
Yeah, I agree, and we're excited about it. I'm glad to see somebody else come into this space. I mean, right. Hans and I have talked about this at great length, that we're glad to see another competitor on this high end. I think that's a good place for somebody else. And I think it's going to be great. I'm excited for Envision. This unit looks slick. I mean, just the photos that I've seen, I'm extremely impressed. I know it's going to be good. I have full confidence. I'll say that right now. I have confidence it's going to be a great optic. But, before I go out and put my stamp of approval on it, I want to see it. If it's anything like the Atlas, it's going to be great, because the Atlas is super. And we have a meeting set up with Envision. We'll be there. We'll look at them. If anybody is interested, if you just can't wait and you want to pre-order one of these things, call me. I mean, I will give Envision this. Matt told us on this show that these would be ready for shipment in, shortly after SHOT Show, February, March. And, I don't know if you could watch the video, but I probably was looking at him like a calf staring at a new gate. I was like, who goes to SHOT Show and has something ready to ship, 30 days later? But you know what? That's what they're saying. They're saying these things are going to start shipping in February, and I'm blown away by that, but they're serious. They said they're going to be absolutely capable of it, and so I think that's exciting. It shows their commitment to this, so it's going to be great, and we'll have more news on that.
Yeah, very excited. I think especially the 25 millimeter Halo.
Yes,
I think the price point on it is great. I think if the magnification specs are correct, the 1.75, I think that is perfect for hog hunters. People like us they're doing this every day in Texas and in the South. I think that's a perfect magnification. And I had a lot of people texting me saying, when they heard the price, they said, that 25 millimeter is going to sell like crazy, and I hope they're right. And we're excited, like Jason said. We're happy for Trijicon to have some legitimate competition, and I hope that it pans out that way. We're really excited about it.
Well, and I'll say this: you can obviously have too much competition. We don't want this whole market to get watered down. I like the number of players we have in this game, but this is good for Trijicon, whether they know it or not. It's good because if you've got some competition like this, we get a horse race going, and then nobody, that is what is going to promote the changes and the improvements that this industry needs, and you need it changing at the top end as well as you do at the bottom. So I think this is going to be exciting. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about SHOT Show. Let's transition into that. Hans and I are going to be going out there. I know that it's going to be exciting, and Hans has been to Vegas plenty of times on business, but he's never been to the SHOT Show.
I've been to Vegas too many times for business. I know the city like the back of my hand. I went there, in a three-year span, I was there probably 4 dozen times.
Oh, so that's a lot. That's a lot of Vegas.
I know the city like the back of my hand. I have friends out there that I know and have met over the years. But yeah, first time the SHOT Show. I've always heard about it. Never could get in before I got into the industry. And from what Jason said, it's just pretty much chaos. And so I think you might have to tie a string around my hand and tie it to your belt loop so I don't get lost.
It's those little curly extension cords like our phones used to have, like the people have on their kids in the mall. That's what I'm going to get for you. Yeah, you'll be You'll be over there drooling over stuff. So I tell you what I want to do. I just want to take a few minutes and talk about the SHOT Show and what it is. I'm sure there's a lot of people who, number one, don't know what it is, don't care what it is, don't care if they ever hear about it again. And I understand that. And I'd say this, you might not want to tune into the show for a few weeks because we're going to be talking, and the word shot is going to be coming out of our mouth a lot. But so what the SHOT Show is, it's the Shooting, Hunting, and Outdoor Trade Show. And this is put on by the National Shooting Sports Foundation. And the SHOT Show is the industry show for the hunting, outdoor, any kind of hunting, what we call fall goods, which are hunting and outdoor type stuff. That is the show for it, and it's the industry show. So what that means is the general public is not allowed to this show. You have to be qualified to get in. You have to be a dealer. You have to be a distributor, a manufacturer, media, some reason to get into this show. And there's a lot of people that are always like, man, I just wish I could get in one time. And I'm like, there's a reason you can't. And it's not, a lot of people are like, I just don't understand why they won't let us go. Because this is where the business is getting done. This is not like an NRA show or something like that, consumer show. There's nothing wrong with those. But what's happening is there is a lot of pricing available, wholesale pricing. There's things that obviously the consumers don't need to see. We're there to do business. And I don't mean this to sound like, I mean, that sounds kind of arrogant, but I mean, it is. It is a fast-paced business show. And yeah, every year there's people there, and I'm always like, how did they get in here? I mean, how did this guy get it? But no, it is, there's a lot of meetings going on, and everybody's doing business and making deals and saying, okay, these are the orders we're going to write for 2019. This is the new stuff. This is, we're putting in orders, doing all these things. So it's a lot of fun. It is definitely, Disneyland for adults in the hunting world. If you're definitely into this, you would go nuts here. I've had some buddies that are always like, take me. And I'm like, it wouldn't do you any good. You wouldn't get 30 foot inside the door for the whole week. You'd just be the first AR. You'd be sitting there drooling over it and never leave that booth. But I just want to give a few quick stats to give some people an idea of how big this show really is. And so it's the 41st year. There's just some things I pulled up. It's the 41st year of the SHOT Show. There are, industry people from every state plus 100 countries. So it is international. There'll be lots of Europeans and guys from other countries there doing business as well. There's over 2,000 exhibitors. It's over 13 acres of floor space. And the floor space that it actually takes up is more square footage than the New Orleans Superdome. There are over 12.5 miles of aisles if you walked them all, if you walked the booths. I can tell you this, and Hans is going to find this out, 12.5 is a great underestimate because that is some way they've taken a computer and done that. There's no possible way because these things aren't in straight aisles. You might have a booth that's the size of my house, and so it blocks off 4 rows. And then by the time you get around it, you don't even know what aisle you're on anymore. I can guarantee you if the average guy just tried to walk this, it'd be about 50 miles because you can never you can't walk it straight. There's no way to walk all the way down one aisle and then back. There's over 60,000 attendees every year. I know there was a couple years ago, it got up to almost 70,000, and a lot of us were actually complaining. They send us surveys, and we're like, it's got too big. And so I think they kind of cut back and did a little better job on screening who gets in because there just gets to be so many people you can't get around, you can't do business. There's a couple more facts here that I just found phenomenal. One thing, when a firearm comes in, that firearm has to be inspected. So like, let's say that, let's take somebody, for example, I don't know, Rock River Arms. All right. So they come in with their AR-15s. Every single firearm that comes in must be inspected, the firing pin removed, no live ammunition. They want to make sure that there's nothing like no accidents, anything like that could happen. Mm-hmm. So Again, firing pins removed. The firearms are hand inspected. Last year, there were over 15,000 firearms inspected to be approved to bring in on the show floor. And
That's amazing.
And then this number got me. It said that all these booths and all these exhibits have to be shipped in there and then set up. It said there were over 7 million pounds of exhibits last year, and it was the heaviest trade show ever in the Sands Expo at the Venetian. They said they've never had one. I mean, I'm like, what are they? This must be all ammo manufacturers bringing their lead or something. I'm not sure where the 7 million pounds, but anyway, it's a fun show. It is going to be busy. Hans and I are going to be working. I want to go ahead and say, for our customers that are listening to this, we'll both be there. We're both going to be working, but if you do call to talk to us, man, bear with us. Emails, phone calls, we're going to do our best to call back, but I'm going to be out there the whole week, Sunday through Friday. Hans and his wife will be out there for most of the week, and we're just going to be swamped. So if you do call, give us a little bit of leeway on trying to call you back, but it's going to be fun. We've already got meetings set up with Envision, Pulsar, FLIR, some other companies, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep, bring your checkbook.
I was hoping you'd bring your checkbook, loan me some money.
My checkbook. I'm bringing my checkbook, but mine isn't as fat as yours, so we'll see.
Oh my goodness, mine is shoot. Hey, I tell you what, if we don't get us some more inventory to sell, I hope we go out there and we find out we've got something to sell, because man, it's getting slim around here with no thermal shipments coming in right now.
Yeah. Well, hey, y'all check out, we're going to be posting stuff on social media from the show. We're going to be trying to get pictures on all this stuff. So check us out on Instagram, Facebook. We'd like to be posting stuff as quick as we can, as much as we can. I know that a lot of people are scouring social media to find any type of new stuff. So we're going to do our best in between meetings to make sure that we bring you pictures and any posts that we can. And also, check out outdoorlegacygear.com if you have any questions about scopes. If you're interested in purchasing a night vision or thermal scope, give Jason a call at 877-350-1818. Also, go to YouTube. You can subscribe to the Hans East Texas YouTube channel, getting close to 5,000 subscribers, and excited about that. Putting out pretty much a video a week, whether it be a review or hog or coyote killing video. And also go check out Hans East Texas on Instagram, and you can check out Outdoor Legacy Gear on YouTube and subscribe to them also on Instagram and Facebook. And I think I got all of that out of the way.
Yeah, just go find us. Just
find us. Just search something.
Search something. Yeah, subscribe, like, share. I don't know.
We will next week's going to be real heavy. I'm hoping we're going to have take time to post this stuff on social media as much as
Hans
we can
always
while we're not working.
He always overpromises, and he's already got all these plans for all this stuff we're going to do from the show, and I'm like, there's no way. No way. But he says we're going to do it, folks.
Well, we've got a, I don't know if it's a surprise, but we've got a big interview coming up from the SHOT Show that we're going to look forward to sharing with everybody.
Maybe not next week.
Coming up soon.
Yeah, maybe not
probably
next
not next week. It may not come on next week's podcast, but it will be following very shortly. But it's a big interview, and we're excited to have our future guest on to talk about some new scopes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I tell you, Hans, I appreciate all that. Like he said, if you haven't subscribed, go do it wherever you're at, any of the social medias, you can find us. And I tell you, we just really appreciate y'all listening to the show. This has been episode 37. Like I said, there's going to be a lot more SHOT Show news to come. And we will be, again, next week live at the SHOT Show doing some updates from there. When we get back, we will start breaking down what we've found, what we've seen, and be a lot more info on all this stuff. So stay tuned. We want to be your news source for everything in the night vision and thermal industry. We thank y'all for listening, and we will talk to y'all next week from Las Vegas. Stay safe in the fields.